Hello everybody, Mark here from Present Day Production again, and we're going to run through some more of the mixes you've sent in for mastering today. Oh, what fun. Yes, we are fun. Let's go. So, big change for today. We have a lens with autofocus on it. So hopefully my beautiful face is in focus for you lovely people. And if it isn't, I still don't care, and I'm still not going to do it again. So, but it's really difficult. All these cameras are manual, and normally we have like these kinds of things, which are sort of are just manual, sort of vintagey lenses on them. And it's really difficult to focus a camera on your own, on yourself, because when I go behind the camera to focus it, I'm not here anymore. So I need a mannequin. If anyone's got a mannequin, they could send me a mannequin through the post. I'd really appreciate it. That would be absolutely fantastic. Preferably one with full working orifices. Right, anyway, let's crack on. I'm not going to waffle today. I'm going to crack on. I'm going to play your mixes. I'm going to play your mastered mixes, and we're going to zoom through it so it's not another 3.5 hour long video of me going like that, and everything will be marvelous. So what have we got? First of all, we have a track from a gentleman in the US of A called Mr. Greg Gillilan. Names on the screen. I can't even pronounce American names. Bob Smith. Everyone's called Bob Smith. This is a track from Bob Smith from America, and he sent me 2 versions of his mix. He sent me a mix where he'd applied some mix bus processing himself, and he sent me another mix with all that taken off. So the level's nice and low. He's given me loads of headroom to work. It's absolutely perfect. There's a few mixes, in fact there's one mix really I'm going to show you an example of that's just too loud. Some people are sending me stuff that's too loud, that's got limiting on it, and when I load the audio file in, it's just you know, all the tops of the audio files are flat. It just looks like table mounting. That's no good. Can't do anything with that. Yeah, but I'll show you an example of that, etc. later on. So let's have a listen to the track Greg sent. Nice bit of country and western. Not a genre I really generally work in. There's not a lot of guys in the UK doing country style stuff. So it's great to work on that, and I listened to a few reference tracks before I mastered it to hear, you know, what does this kind of stuff sound like on the radio. So I did a bit of research into it, and this is a great song, great mix, really well performed. I'm waffling again. I'll shut up so you can actually hear it. So this is the mix that Greg sent through with his sort of master bus compression and processing in place, with his mix bus, his 2 bus, whatever you want to call it, with his treatment in place. Here's the mix he sent with all that taken off. Annoying gap there. I apologise about the gaps. I'm an amateur. What can you say? I'm an amateur. So let's go back to his version with his mix bus processing applied. So basically what I did with this is I sent him 2 versions. I mastered this version with his mix busing process. I can't even speak today. What's going on? I've had too much tea. That's what it is. I mastered this mix with his mix bus processing on, and I mastered his mix without his mix bus processing on. So this is his mix with the processing. This is the master I sent him with his processing in place.
Every road I'll take, every heart I break, every lost wrong turn, every bridge I'll burn will bring me back to you. Every road I'll take.
Okay, and then let's have a listen. Let's go back a little bit. Let's have a listen to the mix he sent without his mix bus processing applied. So it's a bit you know, there's no master bus compression on it, there's no EQ on the mix as a whole, it's just a raw kind of flat mix. Let's listen to that for a few seconds. And then this is what I did to that one. So great song, great production. These guys and girls obviously really know what they're doing, and it's great to get something of that quality through. The performance is great, the mix is fantastic. Great work, really good, really impressed. Okay, let's go on to one from Clive Kelvin. Now this one's been sent through, and you can see from the audio file on the screen there that it's kind of limited already. It's a pretty flat topped and flat bottomed audio file, so there's basically not a lot of headroom for me to work, which means I can't do too much to the track. But let's have a little listen anyway. It's a great track from Clive. So this is the unmastered mix.
Well, the end is nigh.
So not a huge difference on this one, just some, it's pretty much there, you know, so just some kind of subtle tweaks.
Something going down, down, down. Jump into the sound at Club Cataclysm.
So great track, just need a little bit more headroom, just a little bit more room to work with. When you're submitting mixes for mastering, you really want to be allowing sort of between 6 and 9 dB of headroom. So on your meters, let's go back to the screenshot, on your meters here, you can see there we're at, you know, we're right up at 0. You really want your tracks to be peaking sort of between 6 and 9, so somewhere around there, like that. So with Clive's mix, I thought it sounded okay, so I basically just brought the level down. But if you've put your mix through a limiter and it's really squashed it, then when I bring it down, it's still kind of flatlining. It's just quieter. So I need more dynamics there to be able to sort of do my thing with it. So that's a top tip for you on your, take your limiters off. If your meter's shooting to the red when you take your limiter off, then just highlight all the tracks and bring everything down, not just the output, bring everything down. So as you're peaking at sort of between -6 and -9, something like that. Let's have a listen to Michele Zara, who I think is in Italy. Great to have some Italian vibes going on. I hope you're doing well over there, Michele.
I'll try to make it as brief as possible.
So this is a great little sort of jazzy, soul-y, funky kind of thing. I like it. I like it a lot. And the master version.
This is a day I've been looking forward to for 2.5 years.
So great production on that, great vibe, love it. Michele sent a few tracks through and they were all, it was a job picking one because they were all great. So brilliant work there. I'm going to try and continue waffling less today, so we'll just crack on so as I don't eat all of your valuable time. Okay, Rob Sedgwick. Rob's in the UK, and I really love this. This is just basically him playing guitar and singing, and he recorded it live. So there's a bit of spill between, and it's great. It's a great vibe. And let's just have a listen. This is the unmastered track.
Night on me, I look up, can't remember why. Maybe something was making me fuss or sigh,
And mastered.
but not tonight. Night on me looking
So
up
the
for
vocals
a
there,
satellite.
it's like right in your face, which I really like. It gives the track a great intimacy. It's really well played, really well sung. This is great, Rob. Great work. Well done.
For just tonight, the stars I reunite, they brighten up in me a beautiful night.
Great song, and Rob did a very, very sweet thing. When I sent him the master back, a couple of days later I got another transaction come through on the shop, but he hadn't put the promo code in. He'd left it at the rate, and I thought, oh, that's kind of him. He wants me to do another track, and he's paid for it. That's nice. And when I downloaded it, it was just a little thank you thing, in just a little sort of text file just saying thank you. So that's very sweet of you. Thanks, Rob. Very kind indeed. Lovely man. Thank you.
They brighten up in me a beautiful
So that's great. Rob also sent me the stems, and sending. So there's a thing called stem mastering, which is different from mixing in that you send whole groups of instruments. So you send all of the drums, all of the bass with all your processing on it, all of the guitars with all your processing on it, all of the vocals with all your processing on it. The idea being that when I drop them into a DAW, they all line up, and if I just drop them all in and hit play, it sounds exactly the same as your finished mix. So all the processing's in place. If you've got anything on the mix bus, then obviously I don't get that. But without anything on your mix bus, the idea is that I drop it in and everything sounds the same. So if I need to make the drums a little bit brighter or just bring the kick out a little bit more, I can do more work to kind of the bass drum without affecting the bass. I can bring the snap out of a snare without making the vocals too bright. It just gives you a bit of flexibility. It's not something I do too much of because it's kind of in between mixing and mastering, but I have done it occasionally, and Rob presented the files absolutely perfectly for that. They were all at just the right level. Just drop them in and bosh bosh bosh. It was all there. So that's how to do it. And again, with the level, you can see the level on the original mix there. It's just perfect. When we play that,
nothing there that is making
there goes bang on between 6 and 9. I mean, it doesn't have to be between 6 and 9, but that's kind of the optimal. That's the perfect level. So yeah, great mix, perfectly presented, really well played. Love it. Good work, Rob. That's really great. Okay, let's move on to Ross Arnold with I'm Away Now. So this is a kind of let's just go forward to a little bit where there's some more going on. So a nice cinematic kind of stringy kind of vibe. Let's go to the master version. Sorry about the delays when I'm clicking on files and there's a slight gap in the sound. There's so much going on this computer at the moment. It's playing the audio from this, it's re-recording the audio from this, it's recording the screen cut, it's doing all these things, and the poor old Mac's like, I want to go home. It's like, well, you are home, get on with it. That's what you do, you're a computer. So sorry for the gaps. It's my fault, really. I'm just you know, amateur. Great work, Ross. Really great work. There's lots of you guys and girls out there that, you know, some of these people, it's the first stuff that they've ever... I've had mixes that are the first mixes people have ever done. And they sound great. It's, you know, the first mix I ever did was on a Tascam 4-track in about 1986. And it was crap. But, you know, some of these mixes are really great. You guys and girls are just nailing it. There's so much talent out there. There really is. And I'm really loving doing this. I'm getting a lot from this. Every time I get a download link come through, I'm like, what am I going to get today? And I haven't had anything at all where I've just sat down and sat back and pressed play and gone, well, that's crap. You know, it's all been great. There's been a few mix issues here and there, and I've had a conversation with the artist and said, turn this down a bit or that up a bit, or, you know, it's too loud or whatever, and then you get the mix back and I can work with it and it sounds great. There's a few of you, there's quite a few of you where we're kind of mid negotiation on just changing little things here and there at the moment, and there's a few of you that have sent through stuff as well that I haven't got around to doing yet. I will do, if you've sent me your mixes and I haven't yet mastered them and sent them back to you, I will do it. You will get your mixes mastered for free. It's just that I've had a really busy week with sort of commercial work and lots of other stuff. I've got another really busy week coming up. We got some really big videos planned for the next couple of weeks. So there's going to be some very exciting stuff going on in this very room. So I can't wait to share all that with you. But yeah, you will get your mixes back. If we're halfway through a conversation, we'll finish off the conversation, and you know, everyone will get everything back. There's also a few people as well that have done the transaction in the shop but haven't sent me any songs. So if you're one of those, please send me your song, because I can't master your mix if I haven't got it. Right, Terry Ozanich. Don't say the name, Mark, just put it on the screen. This is called Righteous Man. Now, Terry sent me a track a couple of weeks ago and I really loved it, and I mastered it for him and he really loved it. So he sent me another one. And I sent this back to him and he really loves it, and so he's going to send me another one, and long may it continue, because Terry's stuff is great. This one he sent through a couple of days ago. This is called Righteous Man. Bit of a reggae vibe going on. Love it. Another thing, before you'll notice there on the screen, there's a gap before it starts, and there's quite a gap at the end with no audio going on. Brilliant. So most common mistake people make, number one, is that their mixes are going through a limiter and they're too loud and I can't do anything with it. Most common mistake people make, number two, is the reverb tail's chopped off the end of the track, or the track starts right on the first transient of the very first bass drum, and, you know, just leave a couple of seconds at the beginning and leave 5, 6, 10 seconds at the end, and that does two things. That means that I can make sure the reverb tail fades out, you know, really nicely, and it also means that if there's any noise in the track from processing, or if, you know, some people have sent me some stuff that they've recorded to tape, if there's any noise in there, I can take a noise profile from that bit of silence and actually kind of remove it when I'm mastering. So make sure that you leave a bit of a gap at the front of your song, at the front of your mix, and a bit of a gap particularly at the end, because I've got probably half the mixes I've had through over the past week to 10 days have been clipped at the end. There's, you know, it fades out nicely, you get that reverb tail, and then bop, it stops. There's no more audio file, and with the monitors I've got in here, I can really hear that. So just leave a few seconds at the beginning, leave a few seconds at the end, and we'll be good to go. So let's play Terry's track. And oh, shut up, Mark, just shut up. Now this one I've done quite a lot to, so you should hear a huge difference. Mastering isn't always about making a huge difference. Sometimes it's quite often with a lot of the commercial stuff I do, it's about doing nothing at all, leaving people's mixes alone. If you get a mix from someone that they're really happy with, don't break it. It's, you know, then it's just a case of quality control, checking everything, getting it up to a commercial level and leaving it alone. That's a big part of my job. But in this case, I was just hearing, I thought it sounds a little bit muffled, it's a little bit kind of lifeless, and I just really wanted to bring some, you know, some smack out of it. So this is quite a radical difference. We'll keep playing a bit of the original mix and then I'll switch to an after. And an organ solo. It's great to have a track through with an organ solo. I am an organ man, as you can clearly see. So this is great. This is brilliant. Love it. Let's just go back to the original mix again.
Now quote your book and speak your speak. Pick the parts that fit your needs.
Great, brilliant track. Love it, really love it. Thanks, Terry, for sending that through. That's fantastic. I can't wait to hear your next effort. Okay, now this one, a few of you have said, can you go through some various stages of stuff? It's really difficult to do it and show you what I'm doing. So in this case, I'm doing some stuff with some hardware as well. It's really difficult to kind of show that. I haven't worked out a way to film it yet, but I will do, we'll go into a real deep dive on a track, and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing, you know, what my initial thought process is when I hear the raw mix, and then kind of each stage of what I'm doing, and we'll just go into a deep dive. This is a track from Sam Reck. The band are called The Goodbye Look, and the song is called I Can't Stop. Now, we've had these guys in the studio, we've tracked horns with them and done all sorts of other stuff with them. They're a young band, all based around sort of the London and Essex area, and my God, are they good. There's some incredible talent in terms of musicianship in this band, and in terms of songwriting and singing and production, and the mix is great. I'm just going to shut up again and play Sam's original mix, and then what I've done is I've done a bounce of each stage, and I'll quickly explain what each stage is, and hopefully you'll hear the difference between all of them stages.
There's a man I know who can get you things.
So let's flip over to the fully mastered track.
Always says what he means. He'll give you your dreams.
And back.
Is the handbrake tight? Are your headlights on? Is there anyone who could be watching you dig that hole? It's easier on your own.
Now, what Sam's done with this is he's started the mix with the arrangement, and that is absolutely the best way to look at your mix. Do you really need the bongos and the congas and the tambourine and the shaker and 4 guitars and the organ and the electric piano and the acoustic piano and the harpsichord, or do you just need kick, snare, hi-hat, bass, guitar, vocals, and then horns when there's a gap for horns, guitar riff, when there's a gap for a guitar riff that fits in with the song without getting in the way of what the bass and the drums are doing, and that's how Sam's approached it, and that is how you get, I mean, this is a big, full, punchy sounding mix, and that's how you get a big, full, punchy sounding mix. A lot of people ask, how do I get my toms sounding massive? How do I get my kick and my snare and my drums sounding massive, like you hear on, you know, the Queen records, or the Phil Collins drum fill, the famous tom fill on In the Air Tonight? It's, what's the secret to that? Well, the secret to that is that when you hear the tom fill in the Air Tonight, all you hear is the tom fill, and that's what makes it sound so massive. There's no orchestra behind it, there's no synth strings, there's no DX7 from the time, there's no 67 tracks of backing vocals. All you hear is dudum budum 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 dudum, and that's what makes it sound so massive. The same with, if you take a Queen song like We Will Rock You, that's a classic example. The drums at the beginning of We Will Rock You, the dum cha dum dum cha, they sound massive because that's all there is. You've just got the drums and the hand claps and Freddie's vocal over the top, and it sounds massive. And that's the way to get your mixes really punchy and really kind of open, is to prune stuff out. If you I get mixes sent through from people, and you'll load the Logic project or load it up in Studio One or whatever, and there's, if the track counts in 3 figures, then there's really something very wrong. I think it's, you unless you're micing an orchestra and you've got a spot mic on each individual instrument, maybe it's because I'm old and I was brought up on 4-track, then 8-track, then 16, then 24, and then that was as far as it got. And most of my songs are 24 tracks or less these days. But let's just play a little bit more of this, and then I'll go through kind of each stage. Let's kick off from where we left off.
Deeper and deeper, I could learn to live with this. I'm a believer, make my friends uncomfortable. It's so much sweeter to keep it all together. I should have known better. I can't stop.
So listen to the gaps. You can hear everything.
I can't stop pretending that it's me on top.
And those gaps, let's just go back and listen to that again. The gaps emphasize the chorus. So
Can't stop fixing all the flaws you've got. I
little bass
can't
note,
stop.
little bass riff. Start the mix with the arrangement. That's what he's done, and that's why it's so good. And I know he pruned some keyboard parts and various other things out of this, and that, that's quite often the way to do it. So many times with bands, we've recorded like a load of percussion parts, so it's there if we need it, and it's always so tempting to put all those parts in because you've put the effort into recording them, and you've got someone in the studio, or you've done it yourself at home or whatever, and it's really tempting to, I spent 3 days doing the bongos, so the bongos need to stay in, but the song sounds so much better if you take the bongos out. You can hear the drums and the little picky guitar bit, and no, the bongos stay in. It took me 3 days. That's the wrong decision. And again, that's why mastering and having someone else master your music is so good, because you can send it to someone like me and I can go, yeah, that's great, or whoa, hang on a minute, I can't hear the vocal because what are all the plain sound effects, or all the other things you've stacked up on front of it. So it's when I hear your mix, that's the first time I've ever heard it. You've been really involved in your project, and you're kind of deep within it, and you're quite attached to it. I've never heard it before, so I press play and sit back and either go, oh yeah, in this case it's like, oh bloody hell, that's just great, wow, and then do what I need to do just to bring the very best out of it. Or I could play something and go, well, just there's too much going on. Or but to start your mix, that's one of the biggest mix tips I can give you, is to start with the arrangement. And if there's a part you can't get it to fit quite right, then hit the mute button and see if that, try and not get too attached to parts. Obviously, you want the lead vocal in and you want the drums in and stuff like that, but all these kind of ancillary parts that that people use. It's the same with plugins. I see so many people, so many amateur mixers that have got, 15, 17, 20 plugins on each channel because they can't get the mix quite right. So the solution is to stick another 5 plugins on it, because the more plugins you have, the better. And it just, every one makes it sound slightly worse. And then you go back and strip it back to nothing and then go, why don't you just take those 17 parts out? And then, bosh, all of a sudden, your mix comes to life and you can hear everything. And that's what Sam's done here. He's just really, really mixed it well, taken out any unnecessary bits that detract from kind of the impact of the song. And he's done a brilliant job, absolutely brilliant job. So I basically approached this in 3 stages. The first stage was I wanted to give it a little bit of analog mojo. So I run it through some of our stuff here, and what that does is it gives it some kind of transformer loveliness. So it just gives it hopefully you'll hear what it does. So let's start with the raw mix, and then I'll click onto analog, and that's just the analog stuff. So I haven't EQ'd anything, I haven't compressed anything. It's literally just gone through some really good sort of vintage audio transformers.
Is the handbrake tied? Are your headlights on? Is there anyone who could be watching you dig that hole? It's easier on.
So this is the analog stuff.
Dirt still on my fingertips, deeper and deeper.
Let's try and get that happening without so much of a gap in between the 2 tracks. There we go.
Uncomfortable. It's so much sweeter to
Oh.
together. I should have known better. I can't stop fixing all the flaws.
So that's brought some life out, and it's just done that lovely kind of thing that good analog gear can do to a mix. And that's always a toss-up whether you do that or not. Do you run it out of the converters and back in again, or do you try and do everything in the box? And in this case I thought it just needed that bit of a lift that some really good analog equipment can bring to something. So that was stage 1. Stage 2, I just wanted to bring the transients out a bit and really make them snap, and I used the Slate FGX, which is an ancient mastering plugin which has got a really atrocious limiter in it, so I didn't use the limiter at all, but it's got a really good kind of transient like emphasis almost. I don't know what it does, whatever it does, it's great. It just brings an extra bit of punch out. So let's go back a bit here, and then I'll click that stage in for you.
On top, there's a girl outside, standing in the rain. Can't see your face, but she.
So you can hear those drums are just popping a bit more. It's just got a bit more punch to it.
Dreams. Dirt still on my fingertips, deeper and deeper.
And then those processors had kind of changed the frequency balance a little bit, only quite subtly. So I just applied just a few EQ moves at the end, just to kind of bring everything back to more what Sam had at the beginning. That's coming up now. So this is without EQ, this is with.
I can't stop pretending that it's me. On top.
So it's just brought the vocal out a little bit more. Bringing the drums out and stuff kind of buried the vocal a little bit. So that's just made the vocal a bit more present. I'll just flip between those two, and you can hear the EQ coming in and out. So this is without. So if you listen to the vocal in particular,
I could learn to live with this. I'm still a believer. Make my friends uncomfortable. It's so much sweeter.
so it's just brought that vocal forward a little bit. And that's it. So I gave it some analog mojo, gave a bit of life to the transients, and just a slight bit of EQ. Haven't compressed it at all, and then obviously a limiter at the end just to bring it up to a commercial level. So this is the final master, which is the same as that one. That's it really, just three kind of stages to this one. So there we go. This is Sam and the band are actually putting this out commercially, so I will put a link in the description, because you need to go and it's not gonna, obviously I've only just mastered it, so it's not going to be out for, you know, a few weeks, but I think they're going to do like a pre-release kind of thing, so I'll put all the links in the description, so please go and check it out in the description. He sent me the second song through as well, and that's just as good as this. So they're a band they're called the Goodbye Look. They're a great band, really ones to watch out for. I think hopefully they're going to get some radio play with stuff that's this good, and, you know, get some momentum going, and can't wait to see how they develop. So that's it basically. Hopefully this one's a bit shorter than the last one. Bored of this camera, so I'm going to look at this one. Hello. Yeah, hopefully that's a bit shorter than the last one. I don't know if it is or not. I haven't got any kind of time device going on, but there we go. So thank you very much. If you want me to master your music for free, then check out the I'll Master Your Music for Free video, which will be coming up at the end of this one. Link coming up at the end of this one. Link in the description. All that lovely stuff. Please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, because we've got some really good stuff coming up over the next couple of weeks. We're going to be doing some hardware and software shootouts with original 1176 compressors, Pultec EQs, all kinds of lovely stuff. So please hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification as well, because we're trying to get together some giveaways. So if we can do some giveaways to you guys to thank you for watching, that's going to be great, and it'll probably be some sort of comments based thing. So, you know, we'll ask a question, and then whoever's the first to give us the answer in the comments will be the winner of the giveaway. So you need to know when we're uploading videos, so hit subscribe if you haven't, hit that bell button, and then you'll get notifications when we put a new video up. And if we've got a video, if we've got a giveaway going on, then you will be the first to know, and you can be the first to be in with a chance of winning some goodies. So please subscribe, please ring the bell. Thank you very much for watching. I can't wait to get cracking on the videos we've got planned for the next couple of weeks. Some exciting stuff happening. Excited. Take care, stay happy, stay healthy, look after yourselves, stay at home if at all possible while we're in lockdown, and we'll see you very soon in the next video. Cheers, bye bye.